So, I am having to pass a bit of time. And today I'm just not going to record myself, just for no reason at all, to be honest. But I am going to go ahead with Eckhart Tolle, A New Earth, the summary by the SLOWW.co site. Amazing. Yeah, I know. Let's see. Where did I stop? Because I don't know. Suffering, did I go through it? I think so, yeah. So we're going to go ahead with surrender. Or have I? Well, I think, no. A New Earth awareness. In brackets, presence. When the ego is at war, know that it is no more than an illusion that is fighting to survive. That illusion thinks it is you. It is not easy at first to be there as the witnessing presence, especially when the ego is in survival mode or some emotional pattern from the past has become activated. But once you have had a taste of it, you will grow in presence, power, and the ego will lose its grip on you. And so, a power comes into your life that is far greater than the ego, greater than the mind. All that is required to become free of the ego is to be aware of it. Since awareness and ego are incompatible, awareness is the power that is concealed within the present moment. This is why we may also call it presence, the ultimate purpose of human existence. Which is to say, your purpose is to bring that power into this world. The moment you become aware of the ego in yourself, that emerging awareness is who you are beyond ego, the deeper quote-unquote I. Awareness is the space in which thoughts exist when the space has become conscious of itself. Awareness is conscious connection with universal intelligence. Another word for it is presence, consciousness without thought. Without the impairment of egoic dysfunction, our intelligence comes into full alignment with the outgoing cycle of universal intelligence and its impulse to create. We become conscious participants in the creation of form. It is not we who create, but universal intelligence that creates through us. Awareness is the greatest agent for change, that in which recognizes madness as madness, even if it is your own. Insanity is the arising awareness, is the end of insanity. With awareness comes disidentification from thoughts, emotions, and reactions. Before you were the thoughts, emotions, and reactions, now you are the awareness, the conscious presence that witnesses those states. Which really reminds me on meditation, and meditation actually really helping me to figure out my emotional states, which feeling that I'm feeling at this time, and just also being a bit more present and just recognizing things way more often and even recognizing things, period, which does not necessarily have to be the case quite, if you get what I mean. All you need to do is be aware of your thoughts and emotions as they happen. This is not really a doing, but an alert seeing. In that sense, it is true that there is nothing you can do to become free of the ego. When that shift happens, which is the shift from thinking to awareness, an intelligence far greater than the ego's cleverness begins to operate in your life. When you recognize the unconsciousness in you, that which makes the recognition possible, is the arising consciousness is awakening. You cannot fight against the ego and win, just as you cannot fight against darkness. The light of consciousness is all that is necessary. You are that light. What remains is the light of consciousness in which perception, experiences, thoughts, and feelings come and go. That is being, that is the deepest true I. Some people never forget the first day they disidentified from their thoughts and thus briefly experienced the shift in identity from being the content of the mind to being the awareness in the background. And the ego greatest enemy of all is, of course, the present moment, which is to say, life itself. The only thing that ultimately matters is this. Can I sense my essential beingness? The I am in the background of my life at all times? To be more accurate, can I sense the I am that I am at this moment? Can I sense my essential identity as consciousness itself? Or am I losing myself in what happens? Losing myself in the mind, in the world? Emotions and even thoughts become depersonalized through awareness. Their impersonal nature is recognized. There is no longer a self in them. They are just human emotions, human thoughts, your entire personal history, which is ultimately no more than a story. A bundle of thoughts and emotions becomes of secondary importance and no longer occupies the forefront of your consciousness. It no longer forms the basis for your sense of identity. You are the light of presence, the awareness that is prior to and deeper than any thought and emotions. Which sounds fucking amazing. A new earth, inner body, and spaciousness. Spaciousness, yeah. Your inner body is not solid but spacious. It is not your physical form but the life that animates the physical form. It is the intelligence that created and sustains the body, simultaneously coordinating hundreds of different functions of such extraordinary complexity that the human mind can only understand a tiny fraction of it. When you become aware of it, what is really happening is that the intelligence is becoming aware of itself. It is the elusive, quote-unquote, life that no scientist has ever found, because the consciousness that is looking for it is it. What I call the quote-unquote inner body isn't really the body anymore, but life energy, the bridge between form and formlessness. Make it a habit to feel the inner body as often as you can. In Zen, such a glimpse is called Satori. Satori is a moment of presence, a brief stepping out of the voice in your head, the thought processes, and their reflection in the body as emotion. It is the arising of inner spaciousness, where before there was the clutter of thought and the turmoil of emotion. When you are aware of space, you are not really aware of anything except awareness in itself, the inner space of consciousness. Through you, the universe is becoming aware of itself. Space consciousness represents not only freedom from ego, but also from dependency on the things of this world, from a materialism and materiality. It is the spiritual dimension which alone can give you transcendent and true meaning to this world. Here is another way of finding inner space. Become conscious of being conscious. Say or think, I am, and add nothing to it. Be aware of the stillness that follows the I am. Sense your present, the naked, unveiled, unclothed beingness. It is untouched by young or old, rich or poor, good or bad, or any other attributes. It is the spacious womb of all creation, all form. All creativity comes out of inner spaciousness. Once the creation that has happened and something has come into form, you have to be vigilant so that the notion of me or mine does not arise. If you take credit for what you accomplished, the ego has returned and the spaciousness has become obscured. Through complete acceptance of the form of now, you become internally aligned with space, which is the essence of now. Through acceptance, you become spacious inside, aligned with space instead of form, that brings true perspective and balance into your life. You're never more deeply yourself than when you're still. Interconnectedness and oneness. Once there is a certain degree of presence, of still and alert attention in human beings' perceptions, they can sense the divine life essence, the one indwelling in consciousness or spirit in every creature, every life form, recognize it as one with their own essence, and so love it as themselves. The whole is made up of existence and being, the manifested and unmanifested, the world and God. So when you become aligned with the whole, you become a conscious part of the interconnectedness of the whole and its purpose, the emergence of consciousness into this world. There is ultimately no such thing as your life, or quote-unquote your life. Since you and life are not two but one, through excessive reliance on thinking, reality becomes fragmented. This fragmentation is an illusion, but it seems very real while you are trapped in it. And yet the universe is an invisible whole in which all things are interconnected, in which nothing exists in isolation. One life, one consciousness. The deeper interconnectedness of all things and events implies that the mental labels of good and bad are ultimately illusory. They always imply a limited perspective, and so are true only relatively and temporarily. Often it is impossible for the mind to understand what place or purpose a seemingly random event has in the tapestry of the whole. But there are no random events, nor are there events or things that exist by and for themselves in isolation. All we can perceive, experience, think about is the surface layer of reality, less than the tip of an iceberg. Underneath the surface appearance, everything is not only connected with everything else, but also with the source of all life out of which it came. Only then can you be aware of the sacredness of the forest. As soon as you sense that hidden harmony, the sacredness, you realize you're not separate from it, and when you realize that, you become a conscious participant in it. In this way, nature can help you become realigned with the wholeness of life. There is a deep interrelatedness between your state of consciousness and external reality. It is the same intelligence that manifests as Gaia, the complex living being that is planet Earth. While nature is a beautiful expression of the evolutionary impulse of the universe, when humans become aligned with the intelligence that underlies it, they will express the same impulse on a higher, more wondrous level. All things are vibrating energy fields in ceaseless motion. What we perceive as physical matter is energy vibrating or moving at a particular range of frequencies. Thoughts consist of the same energy vibrating at a higher frequency than matter, which is why they cannot be seen or touched. In the stillness of presence, you can sense the formless essence in yourself and the others as one. Knowing the oneness of yourself and the other is true love, true care, true compassion. When you contemplate the unfathomable depth of space or listen to the silence in the early hours just before sunrise, something within you resonates with it as if in recognition. You then sense the vast depth of space as your own depth, and you know that precious stillness that has no form to be more deeply who you are than any of the things that make up the content of your life. I do want to point out something just because it came to my mind, because of actually whatever reason, I don't really know. When you think something is bad or something is good, then you think that something is bad or good. This is just your mind telling you certain things, and basically you telling yourself certain things. What I'm aiming for is, if you're feeling bad or hurt or bad about something that you did or that you're doing, whether it is actually something bad or something great or whatever, it is what you came up with. It is what you gave to this certain action, You gave the certain action the meaning, and you can just take the meaning from it as well, which is something that I really struggle with, always feeling like I'm just not doing the things that I should be doing, and basically feeling like having no purpose and just doing dumb things all the time and things that are just unnecessary. But these are just the labels that I put on these things. This is just a thing that I gave it, and I can take it away from it. I can consciously think about it and make up a reason for why it is smart to do, or why I should be doing it, or why I think it is great that I'm doing it. And we all can come up with a reason. So, for example, if I'm just now going to go and ride my bike because I don't have anything to do, I could be like, it is an attempt to fight boredom. It is an attempt to stay in shape. It's an attempt to still do something even though I do not feel like doing anything, or I do not really feel like, you could also frame it in that way. We all have the ability to frame things in the way we want them to be framed, which is amazing and great, and definitely something that one should practice, at least at my point of view. But with that being said, I'm going to end the episode. See you later, alligator.